Welcome viewers. Our guest today is Mr. Bob Fedderly, a community member of our Peace region. Welcome Bob to our program.
Thank you, Faisal. Glad
Welcome,
to be
sir.
here.
Excellent. So, you are a well-established businessman of our Peace region. Please tell us a little more about yourself, sir.
Well, I've been here residing in Fort St. John for close to 40 years. Prior to that, I was born in Dawson Creek, raised in Hudson Hope, graduated from high school in Dawson Creek. And I went to Fairview College for 2 years after that, took an agriculture program. So I'm officially a crop production technician. And after that, I came to Fort St. John and entered the workforce and started my own business just in 1980. And I worked on growing those businesses over the years. My brother's been my partner for about 30 years, and we've done very well in this area, and it's time for me to give some of my time back to the community.
Thank you. And what has encouraged you to run for the MLA position?
Well, I think there's a whole lot of factors contributed to that, but the main one is that Peace River North is a very big, diverse constituency, as you're aware, and we need to make sure that our voice gets heard in Victoria. Quite often through the party system we don't get that. Once a well-intentioned MLA inside the party system becomes a muted voice and is unable to relay the concerns of the constituency effectively.
And what community service roles have you played in the past?
Well, I've had numerous involvements in various trade organizations. The Northern BC Truckers Association. I was a director and president for 5 years. Energy Services BC, again president for 5 years, director for 10. I sat on the Oil and Gas Commission Advisory Committee, chaired it in fact for 6 years. I've been involved with numerous other trade organizations, and safety initiatives in industry and that sort of thing. I sat on the board of the BC Association for Crane Safety and a whole host of other.
Great, thank you. And what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Well, that's when you take an idea and run with it, identify a market, of course, that gives you the idea, and run with that, develop a plan to take that idea to market. And as you're going ahead with the idea, you're going to come across hurdles. So how you address those hurdles and turn that into a money-making venture can take a whole bunch of different directions. But you have to understand as an entrepreneur as well that when you've put some money into a bad idea, you have to stop it. And sometimes it's tough to do when you've spent a bunch of money working on an idea, but you have to do it or you'll end up bankrupt.
And what do you think are the main problems faced by our Peace region?
Basically, as I indicated before, getting our voice out to Victoria within the party system is a big problem for this area. Our roads and bridges in this area need a lot of attention right now. The Taylor Bridge in particular, right now is being welded on at night. Impedes traffic for a lot of time. Those costs to the industries that operate in the area are quite high, and we have to get that bridge repaired. It's not an if, it has to happen, and that's one of our biggest challenges right now. Transportation in this big area is quite important, so we have several other major access routes in the area that have hills that are sliding, and they also need attention. So I don't think those cases have been made loudly and clearly enough in Victoria.
And what economic opportunities do you see in the Peace region?
We've got tremendous economic opportunity here, Faisal, and we have had for years. Our natural gas industry we've been exporting natural gas from this area and into the Lower Mainland and into the Pacific Northwest for going on 60 years. So we don't want to forget that we've got a market that exists and we have to look after it. I mean, our gas sales in BC have doubled since 2002, and none of it has gone offshore until recently through the American pipeline system. So we have to focus on the fact that our major gas sales are to North American domestic customers. So we have to put some effort into that, and we have to work on biomass. We're seeing our forest industry leaving up to, I'm told 50% of our wood resource after it's cut down is left in the bush. And I've seen the pictures. I've been out through the blocks myself. We have to do something with that resource. If we're going to just let it decompose or burn it, we should be using it to create energy of some sort, or value-added products, and create some jobs doing so.
Right. And the infrastructure-related developments which you have highlighted, how can they help our region?
Well, as you know, I only touched on natural gas and forestry. We've got a huge agriculture sector here, both livestock and grain oilseed production, as well as grass seeds. So any of those infrastructure improvements make those industries more efficient as well. So when we're out building roads, we have to consider the needs of the agriculture industry too, and make sure that farmers can move their equipment down the road effectively and without taking it apart to move because the shoulders are too steep or corners are too sharp, etc., etc. So there's all kinds of opportunities while we're working on infrastructure with our diverse range of industries to improve economics for all of those industries.
Right, sir. And what do you think should be the priorities of our leadership in your opinion?
Right now, in this area, with the tremendous amount of natural gas liquids we're seeing, we have to ease the burden on producers of those commodities and make exporting them as easy as possible. And I mean our propane, butane, pentane, those products that we have a real market for overseas, and are already processed goods. They're value added when you put them in a rail car for shipment to an ocean port. That's as high value commodity as we can get in this country. We're shipping a finished product, and anything that we can do to ease that, make those corridors open up, has to happen. Whether it's dealing with railroad operators, and we've seen some reluctance by those railroad operators to work on the railroads like Tumbler Ridge. We've seen our coal mines hampered a bit by a railroad that's reluctant to invest money into infrastructure. So we have to work on infrastructure, whether it's railroad, rail, highways, aircraft, aviation, I should say. All types, pipelines.
Right, sir. Please comment on the famous quote of John F. Kennedy: "The supreme reality of our time is the vulnerability of our planet."
I agree with that to an extent, that our planet is somewhat vulnerable. We have to do what we can to curb emissions, and we're doing that by offering for sale the products I mentioned earlier that can ship across oceans in non-volatile or semi-volatile state that allows consumption of them without having to be pressurized and cooled. Those products are easy to handle, and we're one molecule up the carbon chain from methane. So we're taking a role in cleaning up carbon emissions by the sale of these lower emission fuels. And I think we have to set an example in BC and use some of those fuels ourselves before we, if we expect the rest of the world to follow suit and purchase those fuels from us.
Right. And how can we balance economic development with environmental sustainability, in your opinion?
Well, we've got a system that needs some tweaking as well, because a lot of people, they'll sway one way or the other, and we always have to, when you cut a tree down, of course, you have to reforest that, or you plant another tree or several, because the one that you plant may not make it. So you've got to put the stands back to what they were, and for future generations. And we can harvest the planet any way we want to right now, but it's our future generations we have to look towards. And if we can use our natural gas, as I said, to get people away from fuels that have a higher carbon emission, that's what we should be doing, is encouraging that activity in other places in the world. And when the price gets right, we'll probably do a lot more of that.
And if you're offered the position of Minister of Trade or Minister for Environment, which one are you likely to choose?
Well, I think the Minister of Trade position has a very environmental side to it, because we're selling products that we grow, create, and manufacture in Canada that would help with environmental issues around the world. When we ship gas south into even our North American market, it's recognized as a very clean fuel. It's used because it's convenient, safe, and all those things from a consumer standpoint. And the footprint above surface is very low. So when you're selling those products around the world, when we see Canadian agriculture around the world, people think that we have responsible methods. So it ties in with an environmental message as well.
Right. And what does Peace Valley mean to you?
Well, it's my home. It's been my home. I celebrated a birthday yesterday, and for 58 years I've never been more than an hour's travel away from that river, and most of my life right beside it. So I consider it my home, and the value of the valley is marginalized, and especially lately it's been heavily marginalized because the wildlife values, the agricultural values, the cultural values, the resource value, as far as even gravel and other those type of minerals go, have been totally marginalized when we're valuing the valley. So I view the valley as an asset, and it's a high value asset.
Thank you. And you're a pilot also, so how do you enjoy flying over the Peace region?
Well, it's a vast area, and it takes a lot of time to see like Peace River North stretches all the way from Fort St. John to Talatui Lake in the western reach, and then north to Iron Creek, where the Alaska Highway and Iron Creek meet on the Yukon border, all the way east to the Alberta border and south to the Peace River. So it's a vast area. So I've traveled most of the area by various means, but mainly by aircraft, and stayed out in the wilderness a bit. And you don't understand the total depth and diversity of the area until you do spend a few hours in a small aircraft seeing these areas.
Thank you. And finally, what's your message for our peace community?
Our message is that we want to have Peace River North's voice heard loud and clear. As an independent candidate, we can do that more effectively because we're not bound by any party agendas or messaging, talking points, anything like that can get in the way of constituency concerns. Our primary objective is to look after the concerns of constituents, and when I get a phone call at the office, that'll be first and foremost. I don't have to send that through a committee of party engineers to massage the message to get it into a ministry. I can go straight to that ministry office and deal with the problem.
Thank you. And thank you for coming to our program, and we wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you, Faisal.